Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm broadcasting to you from Budapest, Central Europe. I hope everybody's having a great day so far. Hi Tina, hi Kyber, hi Maria. Good to see many students joining in nice and early. IELTS task 2 today, a writing sample for band 9. And as usual, our materials come from our website, aehelp.com. That's short for academicenglishhelp.com is where you'll find our academic IELTS materials. And GIELTS help.com is where you will find our general IELTS materials. So make sure to check out these websites when you have a moment. It's worth your time. It's worth a couple dollars to save lots, not have to sit the IELTS exam again. This is our academic website. Click that big red button to join. You get a My Student account with over 100 hours of video lessons, 6 full original practice exams, and a fully interactive course for your phone, tablet, PC. And the general website looks like this with the green background. Same idea. Click that big red button there to join. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about our schedule. If you have questions, comments, you can email me, adrian@aehelp.com. The schedule for these live classes is according to Central European time, 13:30 to 14:30. We're doing members chat classes. So if you're a member of our channel, you get some perks, including these members chat classes. And then 15 to 16 o'clock, Wednesday to Saturday, Central European time, we have everyone participates in chats class. Today we're doing task 2 writing. Next Wednesday we will start at 15 o'clock Central European time with speaking part 3. So take note of that. Make sure to be in class. There's no class tomorrow. We do not have classes Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We're working on other projects during those times. All right. So here is what we are looking at today. Let's get right into it. IELTS writing task 2. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Practice that timing at home, okay? Set your alarm clock to 40 minutes or your stopwatch to 40 minutes and see how you do within that time. If you can write a fantastic essay in 2 hours, that's great. But you don't have 2 hours on the IELTS, so that won't work, okay? You have 40 minutes, so see what you can do within that time. Okay, read with me, students. Let's read this one together. Some people believe that men and women should be able to do any job they want to, while others think that some jobs are not fit for women and others are inappropriate for men. What do you believe and why? So the question obviously is asking, can all jobs be done by either men or women? Or are there just some jobs that are more for men and some jobs that are more for women? So what do you think? Okay, and then give explanations and examples from your own experience. Okay, all right, let's do this one with a little bit of a different approach. Oh, and of course you should write at least 250 words. Most band 7, 8, 9 essays are closer to 300 words. Okay, keep that in mind, 300 words. So, very, very important when you're preparing for the exam at home is to clearly identify the topic and the controlling ideas of a question. And you should practice this at home. So before you answer Warda, both of them or neither of them, it is an agree-disagree type of question. That's right, Kyber. Before we do any of that, let's identify the topic. So what is the topic of this question? What are we talking about? Simply put, what are we discussing? Topic is job? No. right? No, I disagree. Yeah, I agree with Silin Wang. It's genders. Okay. So the topic is we're talking about men and women. Okay. We're not talking about jobs specifically or job equality. We're talking about gender equality, right? So the topic is gender. Or more specifically, as somebody a moment ago did it really well, so gender equality, that's what we're talking about. Okay. What's the controlling idea? So what is the controlling idea? So if we're talking about gender equality, then what is the controlling idea? Okay, what do you think? So we're talking about genders, equality among genders more specifically, and what in connection to gender equality? Not male dominance, not equal seats for women. Both sides are discussed here. The question says some jobs are not fit for women, some jobs are not fit for men. Okay. Yosef, controlling idea. So Yosef asks a good question. Yosef says, what is a controlling idea? Yosef, a controlling idea is the idea that controls the topic. So let's go back to the question again. Here's a hint, students. When I ask you what is the topic, in most situations, especially well-written questions, the topic usually comes at the beginning. Okay? So some people believe that men and women. Notice how it doesn't say, so some people believe that certain jobs. Okay? It starts with some people believe that men and women. So right away, if we stop here, you should realize that, okay, we're talking about men and women. If we want to say that in a simpler way, in one word, we can say genders, right? We're talking about genders. So some people believe that men and women should be able to do any job. So this here is your topic, and all of this that comes after is the controlling idea. So Yosef, you asked, what is the controlling idea? It's the idea that controls the topic. We can talk about a lot of different parts of society or culture in connection to men and women and gender equality. But in this case, we're more specifically discussing the jobs that are either fit or unfit for one or the other gender. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. Okay, so the controlling idea here is are jobs fit for either gender or one or the other. Okay, so that is the controlling idea. Okay, so we're talking about genders, we're talking about gender equality. Even the word equality is maybe a little bit more of the controlling idea. Now, again, for those of you students who don't have a lot of practice with essay writing, especially at the college or university level or high school level, it's really important to go through these steps, step by step, okay? So here, what do we need to do? What's our next step? What should I do when I'm practicing at home, really going step by step? I want my band 7, I want my band 8. What should I do at this stage before even writing? Okay, you really want to master your planning before you try to master writing. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time, students. You need to master planning before you master writing, because you can be the best writer in the world. If you can't plan, you're not going to write a good essay. Okay, so I'm not going to paraphrase the question at this stage, Begzod, or Paula, sorry. Gender means male or female, Begzod. That's gender. Okay, gender means male or female. Syed Yassar. Yeah, good. So Syed Yassar's saying, do a bit of critical thinking before you do anything. You can paraphrase after. You can leave the paraphrasing for later. Begzad, we're talking about gender because of our task 2 question, which is here. Some people believe that men and women should be able to do any job they want, while others think that some jobs are not fit for women and others are inappropriate for men. What do you believe and why? Okay, so Syed, you're right. Let's do a little bit of critical thinking. So let's say, what is gender? Okay. Why is gender? How is gender different? Okay. So within the context of this question, what is gender? Very simple. Keep your answers simple. So yes, I already have an answer there. Male and female. Yeah, that's the simplest way. Why is there a gender difference? Just out of curiosity, just for fun, who can answer that? So Farhan says sex, which is, you know, for a lot of people that's a taboo word, but in some sense, yes. Can anybody explain to me in a more biological sense why we have different genders? Why do we have biological differences between genders within the same species? I'm looking for the answer in the chat. Amrit says it has something to do with chromosomes, biology, physical strength, okay, reproduction, sure. So reproduction, yeah. In the hopes of, I still don't see that magical word. Nobody's come up with that yet. Okay. So the reason why we have genders, so we have different sexes, arguably, whether it's by God or science, it's still the same answer, is for adaptation. Okay. So procreation, yes, but asexual beings also procreate. So there are living creatures, usually one-celled organisms, right? Bacteria that don't have genders. There's no male, female. It's just one gender. They just divide, divide, divide. The big difference between asexual and sexual creatures is that we reproduce in pairs. And because we have that, the male brings 23 chromosomes into the picture, or, yeah, 23 into the picture. The female 23 makes up the gene pool of 46. There's more variation. There's more chance for adaptation. Okay. So why do we have genders? Reproduction in the hopes of rapid and effective adaptation for our environment. Sure. Okay. So let's not get too far from our task 2 question here. How are genders different? So in the human species, how is the male and the female on average, okay, on average, we're talking about averages here. Obviously, there are very strong women and very weak men, but on average, what are the key differences between men and women? Okay. So Aigul says that there's a physical difference, okay? Our sexual organs are different, which lead to our physical differences, right? Sure. So how are we different? So physically, okay. So men are generally stronger than women on average physically, okay, absolutely. So in physical strength, the average male arguably is stronger than the average female. Tahira Jawadi, good, says, well, another difference is emotional. What do you mean by that, Tahira? I agree with you. So emotionally, we are different. Okay. How are we emotionally different? Okay. What are the average differences emotionally? You're very welcome, Eunice. I'm glad to hear that your exam went well. Okay, Igul says men never cry. I don't think that's quite true. We just maybe cry less often. Arguably, though, women are more intelligent, average. Women are more intelligent emotionally than men. So women are very clever emotionally, okay? They may be more sensitive, but they're also more intelligent. So women tend to be more, because they're more sensitive, right? It makes sense. Women are more sensitive emotionally, so it makes sense that they're on average more intelligent emotionally as well. They pick up emotional cues easier and they handle them easier, right? So women tend to be more sensitive and intelligent than men. Yeah, absolutely. I would say that's generally true. Any other differences? Differences in the brain, there's physiological differences. So again, yeah, that's a good one. Who said that? That was your Solemn. So it has been proven quite a bit that in the brain and in the thinking, women are better in language skills on average. Again, this is on average. Men are better in spatial skills. Okay, that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of studies that show that on average, okay, again, I'm not, so I don't want anybody going, oh, Adrian's saying this and that. No, we're talking about research, studies, averages, okay? So women are better in language skills, men are better in spatial skills. Sure. All right. So that's another difference. There can also be social differences. I saw a few students saying that the women are better with children, okay, in most cases, on average. And again, that's very true. Just think about how many more preschool and kindergarten teachers are women than men internationally. It's absolutely incredible. I have a young 3-year-old daughter, and it's like 20-1 for women to men for preschool. We're talking in the very early ages. So very, very few men teaching kindergarten or preschool. Very, very few. And that's not just in Europe. That's in North America. That's in Asia. That's everywhere. Okay, that's just the way it is. All right, so visualizing, thinking clearly, good critical thinking. We have some good differences here. Okay, fine. All right, so now the controlling idea, are all jobs fit for men or women? Why is this question asked? Okay, so what are jobs? So just some quick critical thinking. Bear with me, follow along with me here. So what are jobs? Activities we do in exchange for money, right? That's a job, arguably. So it's an activity that you do in exchange for money. Why are some more for men while others are more for women? Okay, so let's use that why question. Okay, why? So why do you think some are for men and why might some be for women? Well, if you did good critical thinking with the topic, and now this is where, again, it's really important that you figure out the topic as gender or gender equality, and you figure out some of these key differences, right? Okay, so you figure out these key differences. And then you can think about, why is there this question of why are some more for men while others more for women? So why is that argued? Okay. Shilpa says it's because of society and thinking. Okay. Arguably, maybe. Sure. What else? Any other reason why some jobs might be for... So Igul says it's stereotypes. Maybe. Okay. Any other reasons? A71 says, well, physical jobs may require men more and non-physical jobs require women. So some jobs are physically demanding. Sure. So they're more for men. Some jobs are emotionally demanding. More for women. Again, it's averages here. Okay. All right. Sure. Absolutely. Here's an interesting question, just for fun. Why do you think that being a soldier, mostly, there are a lot of women soldiers these days as well, but why are soldiers mostly men, other than physical strength that's needed? So why do you think? Why might that be? It's just a question of interest. So why do you think that soldiers will, throughout history, be mostly men, even though today there are some women in the military, but they will most likely continue to be men? Why? Why do you think? It's not about emotions. There's actually, I would argue that there is place for emotions, sir. And I don't know if it's about strength. Yeah, okay, Paula, that's a clever answer. So Paula says, because you don't really need the men at the end of the day to raise their children, but you do need the women, okay? Yeah, if ever there is war, usually we try to save the women and children first because they're the future of society. The way that we procreate, guys, I mean, there's just some basic reality to our biological nature. Women bear children, men don't. Women in this way are much more valuable than men because they're able to bear children. You do not want the gender that bears children to die in the military because then your species dies. That's simple logic, okay? So that's the main reason, okay? And it's not just in the human species, it's in other species as well, in lions, in wolf packs, and so on, okay? You don't send the women to die because then you die as a species, all right? So that's just my 2 bits on that, but you have to clearly understand that there are differences, okay? So sure, okay, it's a very emotionally charged topic. We have lots of good ideas. We need to choose a side. Okay, now there is a reason I'm telling you this. It's not to push my own views on you or to convince you of my ideas, but my goal in this class is to get you a high IELTS band score. Okay, that's my goal. My goal is to train you and teach you how to get a high IELTS band score for writing task 2. That's my goal. And in the name of that goal, I want to show you an important consideration. So now you have to choose. So choose. All jobs equal. For both men and women. Or some jobs are for men while others are for women. What do you think? So what should you choose? What do you think? What should you choose? The first one, all jobs are equal for both men and women, or some jobs are for men while others are more for women. What do you think you should choose? First one or the second one? This one or this one? Okay, so lots of people are saying, well, maybe the second one. Let me ask the question in a different way. Which one is easier? So based on what we just discussed and based on what we just reviewed, which one do you think is easier? The second one is easier, right? This one's easier. Why? Because there are differences among men and women, or there are differences between men and women, right? So this one's easier to write. And I am sure that some of the viewers out there right now are thinking, Adrian, you're a jerk. Men and women should be able to do the same jobs. I'm going to write on this first one. Do it. Just don't do it on IELTS. Okay, so do it. Do it in university or write a newspaper article or a magazine article. I actually believe that most jobs in the world today, especially with technology, can be done by both genders. But for the IELTS, I'm going to choose this one because, believe it or not, in the IELTS Task 2 exam, you're not going to convince anybody. Okay, it's not going to get into the news channel. It's not going to go up on Facebook. They destroy those exams. I think they keep them for 3 months or maybe half a year, and then they all get destroyed. Okay, so the information that you write on the IELTS exam is not changing anybody's mind. You're just a number. You're not convincing anyone. So your goal is to choose the easiest path to a high band score. Choosing all jobs should be equal for men and women, in my opinion, is a much more difficult path for a high IELTS band score than choosing, yeah, okay, some jobs should be more for men while others should be more for women. Okay, so this is your easier path. On the IELTS exam, sometimes the easy path might disagree with what you truly think. Okay, so go with the easy path, not with what you necessarily truly think. That's a huge tip for you. Okay, this is a big, big tip. And some questions on the exam can be emotionally charged. Okay, so some of these questions can be close to home and quite emotional for people. If you read the question in Task 2 and you feel really excited and passionate and you're like, ooh, this is something really interesting for me and I have a really strong opinion about this question, then just take a breather and remember why you're at the exam. You're not there to really express yourself. It's the same for the speaking, by the way. So remember, your goal is to get a high band score. Okay, remember your goal. Okay, remember your goal. Don't get triggered. That's right, Castra. So always choose the easier path to a high band score on IELTS Task 2 and speaking. Even in some situations where it may contradict your true opinion. Okay, students, so based on the critical thinking that we just did with the topic and the controlling idea, let's write the thesis statement. Okay, let's put together the thesis statement. So write a thesis and keep it simple. And you should realize that it's easier, again, to write the thesis statement, a clear, direct thesis statement, with this one here, that some jobs are more for men while others are more for women. Okay? It's easier to put words of contrast in there, easier to find vocabulary. Okay? Tina, question, is it a good idea to write the thesis just one time? Tina, you should only write the thesis at the end of your introduction. It's the only place for it. Okay? You can visualize that later, Amardeep, which jobs for men and women. Just picture it. Picture which jobs you mostly find men doing and which jobs you find more women doing, right? So as we said, kindergarten teachers, you find a lot more women. Firefighters, policemen, you find a lot more men, right? So write the thesis. The thesis is your argument, students. It's your clear argument that outlines your main points for your body paragraphs. Okay, that's what your thesis is. And in this case, you really only need one sentence. Okay? Rum Dugyamputi is asking a good question. Rum is asking, what is a good way to start the thesis? So how should I start my thesis? Ram, that's a really, really good question, okay? When you start your thesis, pay attention to the type of question. So here, it says, some people believe that, others think that. What do you believe and why? So for this kind of question, Ram, the best way to start your thesis is state it as, some people believe this, however, I believe that because. Okay, one more time. Some people believe that, however, I believe this because. For this kind of question, that's the best kind of thesis, okay? Another way to do it is, although some people believe this, comma, I believe this because, then 2 points. Yes, Tina, absolutely, you can do it. So, Tina, you can do it in 2 ways. So you can rewrite the thesis again once you've put it down. Or, Tina, you can just leave a few lines above your thesis for the background and the hook, and then you can just write to the thesis, okay? So you can do it that way. What I just said there, Tina, you want to practice it at home so you have good spacing, okay? But you can do it like that, okay? Kesra, always pay attention. Okay, so Kesra says, I sometimes get sidetracked and go off topic. Kesra, that's an interesting note. It's important. So when that happens, it's when you do a lot of planning, Kesra, but you forget what you're actually asking the question, or sorry, what you're answering the question. So Kesra, a really good technique is before you write your thesis, read the question one more time. So just before you write the thesis, really quickly just read the question one more time so you make sure that you're really targeting the thesis. Okay? Bebek, yeah, you definitely need a good thesis for any essay, including advantages and disadvantages. You just approach that one a little bit different, okay? Bebek, for an advantages, disadvantages essay, your thesis is not although and I believe or however, so it's not a contrast like in this one, but it's stated as I believe the advantages are and the disadvantages are if you're writing about both. Okay? All right. I'll read some of those thesis statements in a minute, ladies and gents. Don't worry, I saw them flying through the chat, so I'll get to it. I'm just going to write a thesis myself, just so you kind of see what we're talking about. So although certain individuals, and you want to paraphrase as much as you can. So although certain individuals ascertain that either gender is well suited for any job, I believe that some employment is more for men, and while others are better for women due to physiological and emotional differences. Okay, so that would be my thesis statement. Although certain individuals ascertain that either gender, ascertain is just a very fancy way of saying argue, okay, or believe. Although certain individuals ascertain that either gender is well suited for any job, I believe that some employment is more for men while others are better for women due to physiological and emotional differences. That will work, okay? So that will get you on the right track. Clearly, my first body paragraph will be physiological differences leading to different types of jobs. Second one will be emotional differences leading to different types of jobs among genders. Okay. All right. Let me jump back and catch some of those thesis statements. I think, Paula, you were the first. So Paula says, although society should promote equality between genders, I strongly believe that physical jobs are more suitable for men and emotional jobs are better for women. Paula, that is brilliant. Okay, so you've created a very nice opinion there, Paula, because you're telling the reader that you do believe in equality. It's not about inequality. There is equality, but some jobs that are more physically demanding are more suitable for men, while others that are more emotionally demanding are better for women. So that's a brilliant thesis, Paula. It's one of our members, and you've done a great job there. You don't need the second part, Paula. Just put a period after women. As both females and males have different hormones and skills, too much information, okay? TMI. So keep that out, Paula, all right? Lanthiu. Although a lot of jobs today can be accomplished by both genders, watch your plurals, Lanthiu. Although a lot of jobs today can be accomplished by both genders with the help of technology, comma, take out the word but. That's a big mistake, Lan, okay? Just comma after technology. I believe that some jobs are more suitable for one sex while other jobs for the other. Okay, so you have to finish that, Lanthiu. Really careful with that double negative, Lan. So you can't use although and but in the same sentence. That's a double negative. Very confusing, okay? Very confusing, so don't do that. Myron. Nowadays, society depicts gender separation that outlines some types of jobs are fit for men, while on the other hand, other types of work are suited for women. Maria, you have the right idea. It's a little bit wordy, a little bit unnatural, so you want to fix that. Nowadays, society emphasizes gender differences, which also involves certain jobs being more fit for men while others are more fit for women. That's the better way, Maria. Okay, that's the better way. Okay, students, so there seems to be a lot of other great thesis statements. That's fine. Okay, I'll get into that later. Let's start writing our introduction. So let's get to our introductory paragraph. So I'm just going to move that down. That's our thesis. So that's the last part of our introduction. And the introduction starts with a hook. Okay. Your hook should focus on your what? What should the hook be, students? So help each other. What should the hook be? Amardeep, you're right. There should be a hook. It is important. Many times, okay, I'm going to say something interesting here. Many times students go, oh, you don't need a hook. My IELTS teacher said you don't need a hook. And my IELTS book, even my Cambridge book, doesn't have a hook. Why are you telling me that I need a hook? Why, Adrian? Why are you telling me something other teachers say don't do it and I don't need it? When you see those Band 8, Band 9 examples from Cambridge without the hook, they're Band 8 or 9 because they're perfect essays. No grammar mistakes, no spelling mistakes, natural language. Yeah. Okay, so you get 9. You don't need a well-developed introduction, and you got a 9 because you had a good thesis, and you just started with the thesis, which was perfect. Sure, I'll give you a 9, as long as you have 250 words. But let's be honest, students. Most international students don't write perfect essays. You don't write with perfect grammar. You don't write with perfect vocabulary. So you need to write with better information, okay? And better information means a hook and a background so you have a better developed introduction. That's how you can gain band scores, okay? I know I'm being quite strong with this, but I know this. If you write just a hook and your hook has a couple of mistakes and that's your introduction, you're at a band 5.5, okay? You're at a band 5. So you want to develop your introduction with a hook and a background. So even if you have some mistakes, the examiner can give you some points for at least having good structure and content. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Yes, Lucky Goy Park. This is real-time streaming. Absolutely. I can react to what you are typing. Yeah. So, so hook is what we need here. The hook, yes, some of you have answered that question that I asked you of what is the hook. You said it's an interesting fact. Okay, it's simple. IGOL says it grabs the attention of the reader, and it should include your topic. Okay, remember, topic here is gender. So the simple way to think about your hook is an interesting worldly fact about the topic. So write an interesting worldly fact about gender in today's world. Start with that. Okay? So that's what your hook is. Yes, Sied, very good. Your hook should be related to your topic. Absolutely. The hook, that's one of the reasons why a hook is really good in an essay, is because it shows your reader right away what you're talking about. So it's like, what are you talking about? Oh, that's what you're talking about. That's your hook. Okay? All right. Your Salam says, gender equality is critical to the development of peace in every nation. Yeah, sure. Your Salam, that works. We're talking about gender equality, and you say it's critical to the development and peace of every nation. Works. It's fine. Your Salam, that's great. Okay? Yes, Kruthik, I will absolutely give an example in a moment. I just want to give some of our students a chance to write on their own. King Never Dies says, gender equality is a controversial issue for hiring employees in different positions in companies. King, that's sure. That's good. That works. King, you can even keep it simpler. You could just go, gender equality is a controversial issue, period. That'll catch most readers' attention. Okay? So even without going into jobs and hiring and so on, that will come in your essay anyway. King Never Dies. Just simple, without mistakes. Gender equality is a controversial issue. That's a good hook. Okay? IGOL says every gender needs jobs to sustain life. Yeah, that's quite opinionated, IGOL, and I'm not sure if it's completely true. But okay, it's not bad. So I would maybe say it, IGOL, like this to be a little bit more natural. Both men and women want to work. Okay, something like that. So that's another way to do it. Sied, men and women are gifted with different biological strengths and weaknesses. Sied, that's an okay hook as well. Just be really careful not to go into your thesis in the hook. So the thesis and the hook should not overlap. They should be separate. Okay, there should be separation between the content of your thesis and your hook. All right, but it's not bad. Okay. Yeah, so I'll write a hook for you here. A couple of you asked for an example. So gender equality is one of the greatest social movements of the modern era. There you go. So that's a worldly fact that I think most of us can agree with, and it will catch the attention of the reader and make them realize that I understood that task 2 question and I know what we're talking about. So gender equality is one of the greatest social movements of the modern era. Okay, that's my hook. It includes the look at what I've done. I've basically taken the topic and I've started my essay, my hook, with the topic, right? So when the IELTS examiner is looking at this and they go, oh, wow, this person really got the topic, they paraphrased it, and they're starting the essay with that topic in the hook, they know what they're doing. If I'm reading an essay from a candidate that starts with the topic hook like this, and there's no mistake, right away I'm thinking this is a band at least 7 student, probably higher. Okay? So, gender equality is one of the greatest social movements of the modern era. Now comes the background. Okay? The background involves the differences, includes the definitions. Too many thoughts in my head at one time. So you're defining your ideas for this essay, and you are giving the importance of this essay or this discussion. So keep it really simple. The other way to think about this is, what are you talking about? Why are you talking about it, right? So that's your background in the introduction. What are you talking about? Why are you talking about it? All right. Tina, yes, in many situations, paraphrasing the question can help you to create the background information. Absolutely. Okay. So what are we talking about? We're talking about men and women, right? So, and we're talking about jobs or work. So, throughout life, both men and women perform a variety of tasks in exchange for money, which they can use to sustain life. Is that what we're talking about? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay? We're talking about men and women doing jobs, right? Why? To get money. Why? So they can live, purchase goods and services. Okay? So throughout life, both men and women perform a variety of tasks in exchange for money, which they can use to sustain life. Okay? So now, why is this question important of can they do the same jobs or not? Right? Well, it's for the sake of equality in society, right? So to create society. Okay? Since, by the way, why? So why, again, so visualize, think logically, think critically. So why are we so interested in men and women being able to do the same jobs? What leads us to this question in 2019 of this beautiful universe and galaxy that we live in? What is the reason for it? Sajeev, IDP and British Council are very, very similar. There's almost virtually no difference between the exams. Okay, the bigger difference, Sanjeev, is between paper-based and computer-based exams. So why has this question come up? Is it a question that we would have heard 100 years ago or 500 years ago? Tina, send me an email. I'll give you some clarity. Okay, we're not paraphrasing the topic here. The topic we're using for the hook. Paraphrasing the question might work for the background. Okay. Syed, very good. Okay, you have some really good, clever, quick, critical thinking, Syed. Yeah, because there's a stereotype that women are weak. Historically, women have been oppressed, which is true. Okay, treated as less than equal in many, many societies. That's fact. So in many ways, not always, but in many ways. Okay, so that's why this concept of equality and these questions have become more pertinent, more important in today's society, right? So that's why this question is important. Okay. A71, the hook is a simple fact using the topic that catches the reader's attention. Okay. Yes, Maria, there were absolutely some very strong women in past history, like Cleopatra and Joan of Arc. Yeah, absolutely. But again, talking about averages and the most frequent occurrences, women were treated very poorly in many, many situations, right? Not allowed to vote, not allowed to go to certain places, and so on, right? Amar Deep says Wonder Woman. Yeah. Okay, so back to point here. So why is the question important? Because modern society wants to attain a balance, fairness, equality among men and women, right? So it is critical that as human culture develops, there is a strong sense of fairness between men and women, right? That's why the question's important. So this is your Band 9 introduction, students. This is a guaranteed Band 9. Even if you got a Band 9 without the hook and the background, this way you are certainly going to get a Band 9 if you have correct grammar, spelling, and so on. Okay. Karen, if you practice for the IELTS exam without coaching, just at home, it's really difficult to improve. It's very important, students, to get some kind of professional feedback for your writing and your speaking especially. It's very, very hard to improve without that. Okay, you can, Karen, but it takes much longer and it's much more painful. So students, if you don't use our websites or our editing or speaking services, use somebody else's, use somebody's who's professional, okay? Because without it, just doing it on your own, it's really, really hard. It's like trying to learn to play basketball or football without a coach, or dancing, jazz, or tango without a dance teacher. Very difficult, okay? Very difficult. All right, so here is the introduction. Gender equality is one of the greatest social movements of the modern era. Throughout life, both men and women perform a variety of tasks in exchange for money, which they can then use to sustain life. It is critical that as human culture develops, there is a strong sense of fairness between men and women. Although certain individuals ascertain that either gender is well suited for any job, I believe that some employment is more for men while others are better for women due to physiological and emotional differences. Okay, so that's your Band 9 introduction. And now you can write your essay. Okay, what should your body paragraph 1 be about? So according to my introduction, what should body paragraph 1 be about? Okay, let's go back there. So what should I write body paragraph 1? Looking at my thesis. Hey, Begzod, you just joined back in. Look at that. All right, so what should it be about? Physical differences, yep, and not just physical differences, Farhan, so careful to stay on topic. So physical differences, full sentence, physical differences whereby men are better for some jobs than women, okay? That should be your first body paragraph, okay? And from that, what should be your second one? So if your first body paragraph is about the physical differences, what should your second body paragraph be about? So again, Paula, you're right, physiological differences. Just make sure, students, don't forget the controlling idea. So don't write a body paragraph about physical differences. Make sure you focus on jobs because of physical differences, okay? Yosef, same thing. So again, you're right. Second body paragraph is emotional jobs for women. Yes, jobs that are emotionally demanding are more for women. Yes, jobs that are more emotionally demanding are more for women. What jobs are more emotionally demanding? So, for example, we said preschool teacher. What would be another example? What would be another example of an emotionally demanding job? Receptionist? I don't know. Zenina says nurse. Yeah, nurses, right? Nurses caring for people on a daily basis in healthcare, absolutely, right? It's very emotional. Men try to look tough, but men do really poorly in some situations in the hospital. So women tend to be stronger in hospital situations where there's some very emotional situations. Absolutely. That's why the job is dominated by women. And these days, you'll notice that there are a lot of female doctors. And that's also because women make excellent doctors because they're emotionally strong. Okay? So, Amardeep says massage. Maybe. There's also a lot of men now as well. So, counselors is another good one. There's definitely a lot of female counselors. Yeah. Women can be a lot more empathetic, right? So, counselors. Okay, students, that's it for today. Homework for next week or for the weekend. Finish this essay, okay? You have a good idea. Again, just to summarize the important points from today's lesson, some questions can be really exciting. You can be very opinionated about the answer. Just be really careful. It's an IELTS exam. It's not a university essay. You're not writing for the New York Times. You're not writing for the Globe and Mail or the World Journal, okay, or National Geographic. So your goal is to get a high band score. Choose the easy path, okay, both speaking and writing. Sometimes that might be opposite to what you really believe. Nabin, animal doctor is called a veterinarian. It's a good answer too. It's a veterinarian. Okay, vet. You definitely find more women as vets. Okay, and remember, it's good to have a hook. It's good to have a background for your introduction, just so you can show more content, more structure to the examiners. Okay, so I highly recommend practicing that. Students, check out our websites for lots more on writing, speaking, listening, and reading. This is General IELTS. It's at gieltshelp.com. Click that big red button to join it. And this website here with the blue background, that's for academic IELTS. It's at aehelp.com. Lots and lots of help for you with our software there and with our professionals. So make sure to join. Click that big red button. Do yourself a favor. Okay. Syed, you are a member, so you can access our video archives. Send me an email, and I can send you the unique link for the video archives, okay? So Syed, just send me an email. Members get access to the video archives. All right, students, that's it for me for this week. Next week, we're starting on the 17th at 15 o'clock Central European Time with Speaking Part 3. Everybody is welcome to join and chat. Again, aehelp.com, gieltshelp.com. Join us there. Thank you so much for watching, for your fantastic participation. I look forward to seeing your essays. Just send them to my email, adrian@aehelp.com, and I will give you a score estimate. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Much love to all of you. Bye for now.